Right, hello and welcome to this week's angling blog. Today you join me on the banks of Flushing Meadows Fishery and we're in search of carp and we're fishing on the float rod. I was on this fishery last week, much different session last week. I'll put a link to the top of the screen now to that session. It was much more the keep netting, 2 lines, silvers and carp, and a full day session. Today is slightly a bit different. So last night I was actually out on the first session of the Canal Carp Dives. Unfortunately it was a blank, but it was good to be back, you know, out fishing for them carp again, and hopefully we'll come across a few. So what it's meant is today, bit of a later start. It's about midday, the sun is up and it's a bit later than I would normally start a fishing session. So we've only got a couple of hours today to catch a few carp and have a bit of fun and get a bend in the rod. And that is the aim today. As you'll see in a minute, the swim is quite a tight swim and we are only fishing the margins, so I'll quickly go over the setup before we go and have a look at the swim. Today I've brought along my 14-foot Drennan Acolyte. I've got 4-pound 4-ounce float fish and I've got that fished to a small pole float, which is a 4x12. As you can see, for those who watched last week's swim, this swim is a lot deeper and we'll have a look at that in a minute. I've got that fish to a bulk shot of Dinsmore gripper sticks and that's down to a size 12 hook. What I'm hoping is the rig is set up in a way that that bulk shot is set to the depth of the swim, so that sits on the bottom and that hook link will be on the bottom, so you're ensuring that your bait is on the bottom. And when you're in the margins and then fish are moving about a bit, you want the bait to be really nailed down. So there's no shots on the line until you actually get to that bulk shot. And that is the theory behind why I've got them bulked like that. I want a heavy weight to hold it in the swim. And if some of them bigger carp are about, I don't want it moving about and foul hooking them. I want that bait to sit on the bottom and just a hook link to be sat there. And I'll show you how I'll present the bait when we go and have a look at the swim. So that's the swim for today. As you can see, I've got my chair, my net, and the bare minimum of tackle really. I've got some Cheshire particle hemp, some maggots, a small tin of sweet corn. All the bits and pieces that I need are in the little tub, and that is the swim for today. I'm literally going to be fishing on the edge down here. I'm hoping to get a few shots of the float going under, but that is literally how close I am going to be fishing in. Sat down in my chair, closer look at the swim. As you can see, you've got a bush on the inside, and when I've plumbed up, it's the same depth there as it is to here. So what you've got is a flat surface to present the bait on. What it'll do here is it'll drop off into really deep water, but you've got a good bit of flat bottom there to put a bait on, so your bait isn't rolling off and the fish end up at the bottom of the slope where you're not fishing. You want them up, you know, up here. So that's why I've chose this swim here, because it has got quite a deep but flat bottom and even. So the reason for having the float undershotted is, one, obviously to keep the bait on the bottom when you're dealing with the carp in the swim, but also it lets me know when I'm on the shelf. And say if I drop the float in off the ledge, you can see the float completely disappears out of sight. But if I drop the bait in on the ledge, the float will sit and doesn't sink, and it lets me know that I'm fishing on top of the ledge and not off, you know, where the bait isn't in the swim. So that is why I fished that bulk shot and with it overshotted for the weight of the float. Just going to drop the bait literally into that pile of food, and when I plumbed up the swim I did notice that it was quite flat And there we go. Quite flat, going straight out. So what you don't want is your bait to roll off the edge and into the deeper water. So you've got like almost like a dinner plate that you can, you know, put your food on, put the bait on, and it's not going to go anywhere. And as you can see there, literally took seconds to get a bite. I'm not really hoping to go too much further out than where it just was, because you've got a good depth of water. It's a couple of feet deeper than last week, and I'm hoping there might be some better carp, although we have started with one that's a similar size. So let's get him in and have a quick look. So there's the first carp of the day. I'm hoping today to get some that are a bit bigger than last week, but that's a nice start. And obviously with a few fish down there, we're going to have to feed to swim accordingly. But let's get it straight back. So straight away after that fish, obviously that's come really quickly. So another handful of hemp and a handful of the sweet corn, and we're going to go straight back over the top with a grain of maize. Very next cast, just into another one, and a lovely bend in the Acolyte. Again, I don't think it's a very big one, but I'm sure as we feed the swim and attract more fish in, one or two better carp will appear, because we have got that better depth of water in this swim than last week, like I said. And this fish probably is bigger than most of them that we did catch. I think we had one that was about this size. There's that fish, and it looks like a right mixture of a carp. So leave below in the comments below what you think it is. It looks to me like a mixture of a crucian and a goldfish with that tail, but lovely colours on it. I imagine today we are going to get a few of these smaller carp. I'm not going to blog them all, but I am hoping for one of them two better carp that are in the pool today. So we'll get this guy straight back, get some more bait in the swim, and see if we can get another one on the bank. So one bait that I have brought with me today is maize. It's like sweet corn really, just a bit harder and a bit bigger kernels. And the hope with that is obviously to try and catch the bigger fish with a slightly bigger bait. As you can see, it's much harder bait than the sweet corn. That is one bait that I have brought with me today, with the hope of trying to, you know, target them better carp. So just looked into what feels like a bit of a better one with the way it's gone off. What I'm trying to not do is let it go back into the swim. That's about 3 carp in what, 10-15 minutes of filming. As I say, pretty sure with the rising temperature on last week we were going to get quite a few fish, and it might be a case of just, you know, blogging the better ones really, because I imagine we're going to get a few bites today. But that's another one of them lovely goldfish, crucian type looking fish, so we'll take a look at it. So there we go, there's fish number 3, and again one of them lovely goldfish, and we will call them goldfish with that little bit of sun shining on its flanks. A lovely hard fighting fish these, and hopefully, you know, I am hoping to get some of the better fish today, you know, 1 or 2 of them. But the way it's going with these, there could be quite a few of them. And I don't fish commercials very often, but one thing I have noticed with them is sometimes the better fish can be all in one swim, and it might be that we've just got a swim full of these. But we'll keep persevering, you know, trying the maize as a bigger hook bait and see if we can get some of them better carp. But what a lovely fish that is for fish number 3. Let's get it straight back. not be the better carp that we're looking for, but what a beautiful fish that is. And the first day of spring was probably about a week ago, but that is the start of spring for me. No finer sign than a tench to tell you that the weather is warming up, and a nice little tinker. Yeah, more than made up with that little guy, and with the sun out on my back, a nice olive tinker, a lovely fish to catch today. That's made my session. That it's a lovely fish. Fishing really is about working out what the fish want on the day. Once you've worked it out, like today, we know that the carp are going to be on top of the shelf and they're reacting well to the, you know, the corn, and using maize as a hook bait. It's just about trying to keep them there and feeding the swim appropriately. And as you can see there, if you get it right, it literally is what a chuck. And just putting enough food in each time to get a bite, not too much that you get a lot of fish in, because the last thing you want is every carp in the lake in the swim, because that's when you end up foul hooking them. So just put enough in to get a bite and to attract, you know, one or two in. And what we're hoping today is, obviously it's great fun with these little ones, but we're hoping to try and get one of the better ones in the swim. But if they don't, at the end of the day, the sun's out, we've had that lovely tench, and as you can see, we've had quite a few carp and a proper bend in the rod, and that's what we've come for. But yeah, once you get that feeding right and the amount of feed right, and work out what they want on the day, you can have some great fun. Right, so I've just come away from the fishing for a moment. Not something that I often do on the channel, but I am going to talk about the last video and the comment section. The comment section on my videos, I'm quite fortunate, has not been an area that I've had to moderate quite a lot. There's been one or two comments, but over the course of the year, 2 years that we've done the YouTube videos, it's been nothing. On the last video, there was quite a few comments that I had to go in and remove around fishing commercials and stuff like that, and I won't really have the comments on the channel. I don't mind people having an opinion, but when it's, you know, abusive and it's not acceptable. I am quite fortunate on the channel that I get the word real fishing mentioned on the channel, and I get what people mean when they say real fishing, but there's no such thing as real fishing. If you're a person that's going out with a rod and line or a pole, or however you enjoy your fishing, and catching fish, that is real fishing. There's no such thing as real fishing. And I think there's enough things in our angling sport that are against us, that we're trying to, you know, sort out in our sport, that we don't need to be divided and to be so abusive about other people's fishing. If somebody's fishing is enjoying a commercial, or if somebody's fishing is enjoying standing in the middle of a river in the middle of Scotland, say, fishing for grayling and salmon, that is their type of fishing, and we should respect all parts of our wonderful sport, because it is a wonderful sport that we take part in. And yeah, we should just have a, you know, respect each and every person's type of fishing, because that is their fishing. And it was sad to see them comments this week on the video, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, so I just thought I'd talk about it on the video, and hopefully, you know, I won't have to go in and moderate any more, you know, really bad comments about it. And enjoy your fishing, lads, enjoy your type of fishing, but respect everyone else's at the same time. Let's get back to the fishing. Stuck into a better fish. It feels a better fish anyway. If it's not, it's probably one of them goldfish that's about £5, but it really is. I've not seen it yet, so I'm presuming it's going to be a better fish. And so it's heading out into the pool now. Now my biggest worry with this one is obviously that tree to me right there. And I say, because not blessed with loads of power in the setup, but it is timing, and it's heading over that way now, and if it sees the tree it'll go for it, and it is doing. And so a lovely bend in the rod, what we came for. And what we don't want is it to come off. We really don't want it to come off. And so we've had quite a few fish today, and this is by far the best one. And so I don't think it's massive, but on this type of setup they don't have to be. And say them small ones put a bend in the rod, and they only need to be a pound or two heavier to put up a real good scrap, especially when you've got cover around you like that tree and the tree to me right. And it's good just to play the fish, you know, if you have a setup that's balanced and not too heavy but heavy enough, you can have good fun playing the fish and not, you know, fishing too heavy that you're just reeling them in. But as I say, he knows all the little hidey spots, this one. That could be why he's putting up such a good fight. And so he's trying to go underneath my bank and see if we can see him. No, don't go in the tree. You can see that piece of maize just outside his mouth. And I say he's not massive, but he hasn't half put up a good account for himself. And we'll take a look at him because he's definitely the best one so far. Right, so there's that carp, and what a lovely fish it is. Absolute mint condition, and what a run around it gave me. No doubt that this area is its home. It knew every nook and cranny, and a great fight on that Acolyte. As I said on the GoPro, not blessed with loads of power, but a balanced setup so you can play the fish, you know, and have a good time, an enjoyable time catching them, you know, so you're not just reeling them in. And yeah, you have me all over the place. That's more like what we were coming for. And see, much better fish, but we'll get him straight back. There we go. It has been great fun on these past two vlogs to come and catch these lovely fish. Last week on the pole, and even more so this week on the float and the rod. And it has been great fun. There's probably about an hour of the session left, but been enjoyable. And you can see there just how off the cuff the session has been. Half that hemp there is still frozen. I literally finished the night fishing, went in, got changed, chucked some boiling water on that hemp, and I was straight back out. What a lovely carp that is. If you look at the scale pattern on him, absolutely beautiful. And as I said on the last vlog, when they get to, you know, 15-20 pound, you know, if they did go to that size in here, there'd be some fish, wouldn't they? That's an absolutely beautiful fish, that. Just hit into another one, and this one feels a similar slam to the others really, but it bolted for the tree to begin with, and as time's going on it's looking less and less likely that better carp is waiting down there. I think, you know, if it was, we'd have hit it by now, and no doubt had we walked round the pool trying all the little nooks and crannies. We'd have found out where they are, but it has been great fun. Right, so on a day where we came to catch some of the better carp, we're finishing it with probably one of the smallest. And isn't that fishing, eh? That's fishing in a nutshell, isn't it? You come, you hope to catch some of the better fish, and it just doesn't happen. But boy, have I enjoyed myself today. I've had plenty of bites, and there has been a bend in that Acolyte all day. Great fun. Let's get this little guy back, get the car loaded and get back home. Wish you all tight lines in your own fishing, and I'll catch you all next week. Tight lines. And like in the last video, the end of the session, the net, good wash. With this particular fishery, you can come up to here to drop your gear off at the pool, and the car park is literally just round that fence. So, you know, it takes a second to do on the way back to the car, and in this sun, by the time I come back, it'll more than likely be dry.